Speakeasy's mission. Speakeasy is a diverse and progressive spiritual community sharing a message of love and engaging in conversations that inspire creative expression and spiritual well-being. Truth is our passion, love is our religion, care is our currency, and peace is our goal. We attempt to speak easily about tough and tender topics so that we can navigate life with greater wisdom and grace. We devote this service to the Divine Mother, to Mary Magdalene, Jesus, Buddha, to all the names of God, to all saints and enlightened teachers and their teachings, specifically the teachings of A Course in Miracles.
Gosh, it's hard to introduce to somebody who you've sat so close to for so long. It's like, how do you not know Maureen? But she is the owner of Be the Light Wellness. She is a meditation teacher. She is a yoga teacher, soul therapy, prayer practitioner, and she helps organizations not just with their consciousness, but also with their organization. And she has helped our organization beyond. Like, I can't even begin to tell you the incredible impact this little lady has had on our community. I'm gonna cry. But I just love her so much, and I'm so excited to see her launch this program for A Course in Miracles Spanish, speaking A Course in Miracles, and to see her continue to grow her own voice, visibility, and value. And so it's with so much love that I invite you to welcome Maureen.
Thank you so much, Maureen. This community means everything to me, and you guys have always been so welcoming. Good day to all of you. For those of you who don't know me, I was born in Puerto Rico. My first language is Spanish, and I was raised Catholic. A little bit about me. And just like the Christian world goes big in celebrating Jesus' birthday, my family was very much into celebrating birthdays. As a kid, we always had a big theme party with family, friends, music, dancing, the super fancy cake, a piñata, and of course, the birthday crown. Some of you may have had the same one, which came from the party store, a birthday crown with silver glittery letters that read happy birthday and fancy pink shredded paper or feathers, depending on the year, just to anchor it. The crown always made me feel special. It's made me feel special, important. In itself, it announced to everyone that it was my special day, a day that brought me much joy and still brings me great heartwarming memories. I was the queen of the party. In the Christian tradition, today we celebrate a different queen, Our Lady of Guadalupe. She is not only the patron saint of Mexico, but also of the Americas. Since this is the season for giving, I would like to share with you today what is the gift of her legacy and how she came to be known. Her story, which is born from a series of visions to Juan Diego, who was a native from Tepeyac Hill in Mexico, which is now a suburb of Mexico City, back in 1531. During her first apparition to Juan Diego, she requested that a shrine be built on the spot where she appeared. Just like in modern times, where you need to get a permit to build anything, he had to go to the religious authorities to request approval to build a church in honor of this vision of Our Lady of Guadalupe. The authorities requested a sign to validate the request and his story of the Divine Mother's apparition in order to approve the construction of the church. During his next encounter with Mother Mary, she agreed to give him a sign. On the day he was supposed to meet her, his uncle became ill and Juan Diego had to care for him, missing his appointment with Our Lady of Guadalupe. On December 12th, his uncle was on his deathbed. And as tradition has it, Juan Diego set out to find a priest to hear his uncle's final confession before his passing. He chose to take a different route for this task because it is said that he was ashamed to encounter Mother Mary on his way, since he had failed to show up to the appointed time together, and he did not want to be delayed if he encountered her. However, Mother Mary appeared to him in his journey, and after he explained what had happened, she said to him, "No estoy yo aquí que soy tu madre." What that translates as is, "Am I not here? I who am your mother." She assured him that his uncle would recover and ordered him to collect flowers from the summit at Tepeyac Hill as a sign of her apparition, to bring him to the authorities. Normally, this area was barren, and being December, the temperatures in that area were cold, usually about 40s. So there were no blooms. He obeyed her, and when he arrived at the site, he found roses, which are not even native to Mexico, blooming there. He collected the roses in his cloak and went to show the authorities as the sign from the Divine Mother. When he opened his cloak to show them the miracle of the roses, not only were the roses there, but the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe was imprinted on the inside of the cloak. As she had promised, by the next day, his uncle had recovered. During a procession to bring the image on the cloak to the chapel that was constructed for Our Lady of Guadalupe, one of the natives suffered an accident. He was brought before the image, and the people pleaded for his life to the Holy Mother, and he immediately recovered. She had been credited with many miracles, and because of this apparition, many shrines in honor of Our Lady of Guadalupe were built throughout Mexico. She brought hope and a common devotion between the Spanish and indigenous people at the time, when the land of the natives had been recently conquered by the Spaniards. This devotion continues, and the Basilica of Guadalupe in Mexico, where the image of the cloak resides, is the third most visited sacred site in the world. The image on the cloak had originally featured on Mother Mary's head. It originally featured a crown on Mother Mary's head, but by the late 1800s, it had disappeared. A painter later confessed in his deathbed that he was instructed by a member of the church to remove the crown. It is believed that this removal was, the intention of the removal was to modernize the image to resemble those of the 19th century shown in Europe, although you can still see a shadow of the crown above her head. Her story demonstrates the great power of allowing guidance and the gifts that are available to us when we follow that guidance. When we allow to be guided by a higher power greater than us, that Divine Mother power that cares for us, we can co-create something bigger than what we can ever imagine. In the story of Our Lady of Guadalupe, Juan Diego allowed her to be the guide. He trusted and followed the guidance, and the miracles just flowed, not only in the moment, but the miracles have continued through the centuries for those who trust and are devoted to her. He thought he was building a small shrine to the Divine Mother, but God used his trust for greater things. Divine Mother's plan was to build a movement of faith, hope, and trust that expanded through centuries, and it still stands 490 years later. He even got sainthood status in 2002, which certainly it was something that he would have never imagined or planned for. The Divine Mother is the feminine energy of God that embodies all the qualities of a mother: unconditional love, gentleness, caring, honesty. That energy lives within us, whether you're a male or female, and it resides in our hearts. The gift from the Divine Mother to us today is to remember we have access to that guidance at any time. That guidance is our compass and our power. When we activate the same faith, hope, and trust that this young man demonstrated toward Our Lady of Guadalupe, our Divine Mother will meet us with compassion in every situation. As we allow and leave our worries and cares in her loving hands, we will receive that guidance of what is next for us. Sometimes it comes in ways of a sign on the road, a word from a friend, a song, a subtle whisper, even a vision. When we fully trust that a higher power has our back, and like a mother, our best interests at heart, we will feel that love, gentleness, and how well we are cared for. We will experience the flow as well as the miracles that show as we move through our day. We'll begin to move in peace throughout every situation that we encounter. From that place of peace, we're able to be grateful and bless every single moment of any experiences on our journey on earth. With the religious belief I was raised, I was taught to pray mostly to God, occasionally to Mother Mary, but mostly to God, who is a masculine symbol. Nothing wrong with that. However, as I have grown in my spiritual journey and have anchored in embracing the Divine Mother, I have found an ease in my prayers. I have felt the energy of the embrace that feminine mother love brings. The answers and solutions come with much care and gentleness. I am able to fully allow faith, hope, and trust. Life is about balance, and much of what we do throughout our day is masculine energy, the doing. I invite you to explore that balance through inviting the Divine Mother into your prayers, spiritual, and daily life, if you not already do so, and experience more of that balance through the love, gentleness, and care she has to offer. The way I myself tap into that inner Divine Mother power is by going within. And I would like to guide you briefly through that process and invite you to practice along to tap into your own power within. So at any point during this process, if you need to take an extra breath, please do so. Stay in your peace. Breathe gently as if sipping a hot cup of tea, and honor your body. So join with me just to quiet the mind, because our minds are always chattering. There's always that little chatter going on. To calm that chatter, notice your breath. Follow your breath. If you feel like closing your eyes or bringing your gaze to your heart, feel free to do so. And notice that breath. Follow it. The breath is what keeps me and all of us alive. Breath is our life force, that universal energy of life. And we'll go very briefly into that rhythmic holy breath before connecting to that power within. The rhythmic holy breath, and follow with me. Take an in-breath. On the in-breath, I am breathing the love of God. Hold the breath. That holy breath in the heart, I am assimilating the love of God in my heart. On the out-breath, exhale, I am expanding the love of God into every cell, organ, and electron of my physical, etheric, mental, and emotional bodies. Hold the out breath. I am projecting the love of God into the heart of every man, woman, and child on the planet. Notice your breath. Follow it. Go into the heart. As you breathe through your nose, you can guide that breath into your heart. And in that lovely place, that place of silence, allow the divine Holy Mother Spirit to guide you, guide us, care, and bring us back to peace. In joining with her, that is where my power lies. I can begin to co-create what she will have me do. You can open your eyes or stay in that sweet spot. During one of those moments of connecting with my Holy Mother Spirit, I received the guidance to use some of my talents that have been given me and start a Spanish A Course in Miracles group. I did not know how, but I reached out to my spiritual tribe of wing women, and after doing some visioning and co-creating with the Divine Mother, today, with the help of all the great hands and spiritual teachers and leaders here at Speakeasy, I will be starting and leading a Spanish A Course in Miracles group. I am trusting and stepping into being a teacher of God. This is my small shrine to build. Whether it will still be going in centuries later, a week later, I don't know. But if it helps to bring peace to at least one person, I have done my job. Following guidance brings me to peace. I do not know the plans that the divine has for me because I cannot see the future, but I know the plans God has for me are always for my good, and certainly always bigger and better than what I can imagine. I don't want to limit myself, that's for sure. Here at Speakeasy, the past few Sunday talks have been part of our Mother series called Come to Mama. In this holiday season of giving, I invite you to gift yourself the gift of coming to Mama, of taking all your challenges, cares, concerns, your victories, your triumphs to the Divine Mother. Gather with her by the fire, by the festive lights and decorations. Fall in her arms. Let her hold you, care for you. Surrender into her trust and guidance, because she will always have the highest vision and gifts for you. Don't limit yourself. Come to her with open arms, knowing she offers unconditional love, gentleness, peace, and so much more. Don't forget, you are a child of God. Queens and kings, allow the divine gifts to flow without limits. Do not take off your crown to blend in and look like others, and erase your brilliance as a child of God. Straighten your crown like it's your birthday, and remember whose you are. Bow your head to your heart and receive your crown. Our regal power is within us when we are willing to take our Divine Mother by the hand and walk with her every step of the way. Thank you.
Yay. Oh, Mari, that was so rich. Thank you so much. I did not know that her crown was erased. Well, that's not going to happen on our watch.
Yep.
There's no appointment that can be benefited by a tiara, I always say. So that was so great. So much to talk about. So much good nurturing. Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking forward to what everybody has to say. And in the meantime, I'm going to pass this to Beth Gordon.
Hi, Mari. You got some waterworks going for me. Thank you. Really beautiful, beautiful message. And if you want to join in her ACIM Spanish text class today. Join that. It starts today. And it starts today at 1:00. So in the chat, there is a link to the calendar. There is a link to that. If you'd like to join, please fill out the form. And we also have today Culture Club with Reverend Celeste, and that's at 3 p.m. And 5 p.m. Central today, we also have a Christmas Carol, which is a live gathering that we're having to sing Christmas carols and tell stories and share cookies and just some holiday celebrating and festivities. It's also Carol Ham's birthday, and we're going to celebrate her birthday. So if you would like to join in those festivities, please come out. The information is also in the form that is in the chat. And I just also want to speak about the salons. The Speakeasy salons are forming. There are several people that have stepped up to lead salons. And for those of you that have stepped up to lead, the next step is we want to get together and talk and make sure that you have a wingman for that, and to do a visioning and be clear on the invitation of what the salon is. So feel free to reach out to me, to reach out to Jeannie Laporte, those of you that have already agreed to lead. And those of you that are like, salons, what are those? Salons are forming. These are small groups based on special interests and geography to deepen in our connection and sense of community. And there is a form also in the chat that you can fill out if you're interested in participating, or if you have an idea you would love to lead a salon about. So these are intimate gatherings, and we would love to have you participate in whatever way you feel so called. But take a look at the calendar. The calendar has everything on it. And I just also would like to invite you, if you feel spiritually fed, if you feel nourished, if you feel that this community has value to you, to donate, to give something. Go to your heart and just ask Divine Mother, that presence within, what's mine to give here? This is we're coming to the end of the year, and it's the common time to give to many different communities or charities. And just like any other community, it is your donations that keep this community floating alive and keep things flowing. So take a moment, and we just bless you as you give. And I think that's it. I'm going to pass it back to you.
All right. Well, again, I loved that talk. And come on up, Mari. Let's see what people have to share about your conversation. I can totally imagine you with your crown on at your parties and your piñatas. And, I ran a kids party company for many years. So when you start talking about kids parties, I perk up. I think that they're probably, next to going to Irish funerals, one of the best gigs in town. So
yes, they were fun.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Did you find out more than you knew when you were researching this topic of the Lady of Guadalupe?
Absolutely. It was very interesting, because I knew, growing up Catholic, I knew a little bit about it. But the details of, to me, it was like, wow, this guy, and it was the 1500s. To have that faith and the courage to say, okay, I'm going to go build that shrine, make sure this shrine gets built, as opposed to backing out and in that fear that, oh my God, they're going to think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Because apparitions, no. In a land that was recently conquered, he didn't have any fear to say, I'm going to go forward and I'm going to get this done.
You know what? It reminded me of two things. It reminded me of Mary Magdalene bringing the egg to the empire when she says Christ is risen, and he's like, he's no more risen than that egg is red, and the egg turns red. It reminded me of that story, like people who just speak truth to power, you know, and what happens when we speak truth to power. And then there was the other one about Medjugorje. You know, and Medjugorje is where I found out about A Course in Miracles the first time that I heard about it. And again, it's like in the middle of nothing, they built this huge church. I know today that as a Course in Miracles student and teacher, that I don't necessarily have to build cathedrals to the divine if my temple is clear. But it is beautiful to see what can rise up in faith. It's really beautiful. I mean, and I love that you invite us to be with the Divine Mother, because I know it's a resource that goes undervalued and underused, and it's powerful. I've seen it move mountains. So thank you so much for refreshing our memory. Did anybody want to share or have any questions? Come on up, Liz.
Yeah. Good morning. Thank you so much, Mari. I wanted to share when I was traveling to see my daughter in Utah, we went to a craft fair and I picked up this Our Lady of Guadalupe little icon. And so it was really sweet to hear that story so that I understand more about her and her history. And I feel like I travel with her. You know, she's small and she fits in my purse. And I'm getting ready to drive to almost 1,000 miles on Tuesday. So that just kind of refreshed my whole connection with her, and knowing that she'll be with me and that protecting me, and just honoring her. So thank you for that beautiful talk.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, it's a good reminder. Like I said, you know, as I have anchored more into using that resource of the Divine Mother, I just have felt that energy of how things can flow with that gentle power.
Yeah.
Where I can lay my concerns into that divine mother power. And it's just, things are more gentle. So it is wonderful that you travel with her. Yeah, thank you.
I'm intrigued by the idea of the roses, you know, like I know for the Blessed Mother, we would have the May crowning and we'd all go around the neighborhood and steal flowers from other people's gardens, bring them back to our shrine. And that, you know, that there's this connection with the roses with the Lady of Guadalupe as well. And it's just interesting to me, you know, the rosary and the roses and these symbols that cross over.
Yeah, I think too, you know, roses are so gentle. And I mean, they come in a variety of colors and species, yet all of them are delicate. They're beautiful in their own special way, but they're all very delicate. And it's a very feminine flower and symbol that I think definitely is so appropriate for all of Divine Mother.
Yep. I had a teacher long ago who was a priest for a while, and then he just became not a priest. He decided to just become a mystic, I guess, at that point. And he used to talk about his interaction with the Holy Spirit, that he called it the Divine Mother. And that he said that whenever he had these deep mystical meditations, he would literally smell roses. And I thought that was so beautiful. I remember when Joe Wolf died, I was devastated, and I was talking to him like, I can't believe you died. I should have stayed on the call longer the last time we talked. And I smelled his pipe. So I know, and that happened twice to me. So I know that like spirits can use our senses sometimes, but I love that idea that she's so connected with this scent that draws us in. And yeah. And what is your take on that? The Blessed Mother and the Holy Spirit?
For me, the more I study and really dive into my spiritual life, I I feel that that is the one component that, the Trinity is the Father, the Son, and to me, it's the Holy Mother Spirit, because that will complete that Trinity. It will complete the feminine, the masculine, and then the essence of the two of them combined, the Son,
Yeah,
the sonship.
right.
So that's what I anchor in. And if you break it down, so Holy Mother Spirit, it's HMS, which when you Google that, that is Holy Majesty. I forgot what the S is, but those are the acronyms for monarch, for monarchy, HMS.
Oh,
Those are the acronyms.
Oh,
Yes.
oh God, isn't that fun?
Yeah.
So yeah, I asked you that question because I knew the answer. And I just wanted to hear you say it again. But yeah, here's the other question I have. Why wouldn't you? Why
Right.
wouldn't you include your mother in your dedication and your devotion when it says honor your mother and father? Why wouldn't you? Like, why would you be like, no, we're not going to have any girls in the club? Like, what do we get from that except a broken world? So you're speaking to the choir here.
Yeah, having the mother as part of that anchoring, because we're all children of God, and if we hold the hand of both the mother and the father, I mean, my goodness, we are just unstoppable. It's kind of like little kids. Like, if you look at little kids, and some of you may have done it if you have little, had kids in general, but when they were little, like, you would hold your mom's hand, your dad's hand, and they would like swing you, you can be like free. And it was just so fun. And in that same token, we can hold in anything we do the hand of our mother and our Father God, and just allow and let go and swing and be able to be free and be guided. So to me, the more I have anchored into bringing in that mother spirit and that's energy of the mother divine, things have really grown for me, and I have been able to move forward and receive more direction when I go within.
I agree with you 100%. It wasn't just but about a year, maybe a year and a half ago, when we decided to devote ourselves to a community that follows the Divine Mother, and we've grown exponentially since then, and not in an unorganic way, in a very gentle, in a very organic, in a very easy way. Prior to that, we were growing easily as well, but that was a turning point for us. And it wasn't that I wasn't always devoted to the Blessed Mother and the Divine Mother. I just didn't wear it on my sleeve as much as I do today. Wear my heart on my sleeve. But I have found that just in getting clarity around that, doors open. And for me, that has been a game changer. And it's interesting because, like, I'm not one to preach or propagate about like any one, deity or devotion. I think they're all beautiful, all paths that lead to God are gorgeous, but I'm really grateful that we have claimed a major here. And I definitely think that it not only helps our women in our community, but the men in our community and the men and the women in our world. And so I'm grateful for this conversation and for your ability to speak to it from another facet of the diamond. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And, going back to the rose is, I feel as I have anchored into bringing in the Divine Mother, it's almost like a rose opening up. I mean, it's very gently done. It takes time, but it's like softly it opens,
Yeah.
And I feel like when I set my intentions or go asking for guidance from Divine Mother, that's how things unfold. It's like that gentle rose opening. It's like, okay, here's a little bit, here's another bit, you know, of where you need to go, and how that's how the guidance have opened up for me.
100% agree with you. Absolutely. It's great. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful way to be in the world. Wish I had known about it when I was like 50, or actually I wish I had practiced it more when I was 15 and my whole life, but I'm happy that we have it, that we're honoring it here and now, and in a conscious way. Because I said the rosary up and down the street when I was younger all day long, but I didn't really fully connect, and not to the degree that I do now. And I suppose we're all maturing into a greater dedication, devotion of our spiritual awareness. But so that's all I'll say about that. Yeah, Beth Gordon has her hand up. She had her Carol hand up. It was like this.
Well, what's coming to mind for me in this conversation is how, one's concept of the divine gets mirrored in life and in relationships. And as you talk about Divine Mother and the unconditional love and the gentleness of Divine Mother, how I really feel that everybody is just thirsting, hungry for this kind of nourishment, this kind of spiritual food. And so, to be in conversation and community that actually talks about it feels soothing, like a healing balm. And, to live in a world that's judgmental or harsh, may reflect someone's experience of their concept of the divine. And it's just so refreshing to bring this in. And I'm just wondering if you had, Mari, a turning point where you were like, I'm actually consciously embracing this, and the differences that you noticed in your world as you did that.
Well, yes. I'm very much into doing. And that is very much a masculine energy. If I'm not doing something, I'm like, need to be doing. But as I remember to go back into embracing more of that, when I feel my mind going like, gotta do, especially when I first wake up in the morning, it's like, it's like, no, stop, put it to the divine. And then that's why I have kept coming back, because I've noticed that when I do offer it to the Divine Mother, then things start being like, no, I don't need to do that. Or that does not need to be done now. The pace is more simple. The pace slows down, basically. So yeah, I can do things with more peace. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I can feel the gentleness in that. And I so can relate to the to-do list, the doing, years and years of that. And just realizing, well, I don't need to make myself crazy. I just need to listen. And I hear that with you.
What's interesting is like, I don't think it's that you have to become a mother to understand the complexity of those types of emotions. But I remember when I went to Medjugorje, and they were saying the sermon from the kids that day was that the Blessed Mother was weeping. And I was like, weeping? What? Like, why? And as I became a mother, I've had many hours having raised children who are on the spectrum, who are transgender, who are had addictions to drugs, and I haven't gone through my own dragons as well. I've had many weeping moments, you know what I mean? And there's something now, I see something so generous about having that degree of love and emotion for your children. Beyond, I mean, I didn't know that I could hold that much love And if I can hold that much love, it just expands my ability to understand how God loves us, how she and he, how God loves us. There's just being able to see the full facet and to understand that the complete holiness of the emotions connected with the logic, like that both of them are holy, that both of them are necessary, the love, the law, the swirling and the container, like that we get a balance around it. There was a great time in my life where I didn't really value the feminine nature. And every time I cried, I would feel foolish and bad. So like, as we honor the Divine Mother, we get to heal those aspects of femininity that are not bad. And not just for women, but for men. You know, we tell men all the time, don't cry, suck it up. And then we give them, in agreeing to that, if whatever body you come in, you give yourself less of an opportunity to experience your divinity because you've made something wrong. Yeah. And so this is like a big healing. It's not a small, it's a big healing. And I just invite people who are listening in to like, just be with it. Like, just let it wash over you. See what it means for you. See where it hits with you. See what it lights up in you, and just be with it, you know? And that's what I'd say about that. So we should probably go ahead and pray out. And unless anybody else wanted to share anything.
Barbara has her hand up.
Oh, Barbara.
Hi, I just love this talk. And of course, I love Mari. So, of course, and I love the topic. I just wanted to add that, you know, we live in a world where historically the masculine has been so powerful, the logic, the power, those kinds of characteristics. And because we're in a Western civilization, we also have other powers and characteristics that we all see as feminine. And that is more obviously the nurturing, but also the holding the energy. It's like when a toddler throws a tantrum, you know, a mother or the feminine energy doesn't say, oh, this is somebody headed for jail in their life. You know, holding the energy that this too shall pass. I see the energy of this too shall pass, and being able to hold a vision for a length of time, even when there's no physical proof. When there's no proof, I see the ability to hold the high watch, the vision, as a very feminine characteristic. So because at Speakeasy, we obviously honor all the male characteristics. We all have male and we all have all the female and the male characteristics within us. But what we have the ability to do is to call on different characteristics in different times and in different situations.
Yes.
And so what I have gained, since Mari's talked about she's gained, what I have gained is when I can see God, and God has many, many different characteristics, and we always focus on different aspects of God at different situations. Like, you know, if we're really frightened, we look on the power, we say, oh, I'm going to tap into the power of God, you know, and sometimes we want the love of God and the tenderness of God. And we want God to be very personal for us. And sometimes we want God to like look at the big picture and fix things. But I think what Speakeasy is doing is helping us. We've been really off balance in our society. And by Speakeasy's emphasis on the feminine, it's helping us move here. And that, again, is not just for women, but it's for men also. It helps us bring more of God's abilities and characteristics and powers into our consciousness more often. So that's the contribution, I think, of the feminine side of God that I think Speakeasy is uniquely doing. And I celebrate that. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Barbara. Thanks. I appreciate that. And you hold that masculine and feminine so well, like better than you just really do it quite well. So I just honor that. Miss B wants to share. Yes, Miss B?
Hi, everybody. Very much appreciate your talk about Our Lady of Guadalupe. And it made me think, in my Buddhist tradition, of the feminine divine, often embodied as the female Buddha Tara. And most of the time she's really gentle, but I just like to throw it out there that sometimes mom needs to kick some butt. And I've had that experience. And it's definitely from a place of love. It can hurt a lot, but I also know that it's coming from a place of love and helps me get back on track. So at least that's my experience. One part of my experience with the feminine divine.
Yeah, I love that, because we do talk about the nurturing nature and the gentleness, but like I said, there's also like a volcano of emotions, and there's, mama bear energy, and so there's incredible power, and there's also incredible power in gentleness, believe it or not. So as my mom said, you can get more bees with honey, but she still always took the opportunity to sting me. Just kidding. Do as I say, not as I do. We've got mom issues to work on. So that's okay. That's what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for chiming in. Thanks for being here. And why don't we go ahead and put this into prayer? And do you want to pray us out, Mari? Would you like somebody? Okay, great.
I'll pray us out. I invite everyone to just take a deep breath, go within, center in your heart, knowing that we as children of God have the ability to balance, because God is balance. God is so good. Everything that belongs to our Father, Mother, God is within us. We have that peace, that love, that gentleness, the courage, all within us. And I am so grateful that we are part of that. We are part of the wonderful gentleness, the courage to move forward in everything we do. The unconditional love is all within us to open and expand into our lives, into our families, into our communities. And we are so grateful for that. And we are so blessed. I am grateful and thankful that we are blessed to have this opportunity to be together and move forward into that knowing that we are children of God and we can access that is divine within us. So grateful and thankful. And I hand these intentions into the loving hands of our divine love that always says yes, 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 my beloved. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.
So it is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Lady of Guadalupe Day.
Thank you, Laura, Maureen.
Bye. Bye.
Happy
Thank
lunch.
you so much.
Yeah, happy lunch.
Safe travels, Maureen.
Yep.
Safe travels.
Bye.